Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am doing another fun art collab this week. This one has been in the works for a few weeks now, and I'm really excited to be doing a collaboration with two other YouTubers. The two other YouTubers are Amanda Elise Art and Alexe Brewer. So the way we are working with each other is we are each creating a scribble to send off to one other person, and we are getting a scribble from the other to create a finalized illustration. So Amanda sent me this. I know. What am I gonna do with this? I don't know yet. But I am fairly thankful that it is pretty simple. I mean, it could have been a full-on scribble in the entire page, and that would have been pretty difficult to turn into some sort of illustration. But this is a fairly simple line, and we did agree that we can kind of turn this around and figure out the best orientation that we want to use. We can change the color, and we can even change the size, as long as it's not so small you don't even see it, because that's kind of cheating. But what I decided to do was print it out kind of at this larger size on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, with the intention of using a 5 by 7 piece of paper like this to basically use the majority of the scribble on the paper. Oh, you can kind of see it like that. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of move this around and see if anything comes to mind. This makes the scribble pretty big, but I did want to create something on this entire piece of paper. I'm already working small, so I might as well fill up the 5 by 7. I am really not sure what I want to do with it. Initially, I did want to do some sort of animal with this. I keep thinking elephant, but that's really not quite what a trunk looks like and not really what an ear looks like, so I don't know how I would do that. I almost see like a bird, maybe like a dove, like the tail or part of the tail and the wing, and then filling in the rest. That might work. I definitely want to incorporate plants, since that's sort of what I'm known for now, and I kind of don't hate it. I don't know, before I get started, I would love to see what you guys see in this scribble and what you would create. So leave a comment down below, and I'm gonna look at this a little bit more and get back to you when I have a better idea of what I want to do, and then I'll transfer this line or scribble onto my final piece of paper and we'll get started on it. So I'm back with a voiceover for the rest of the video to kind of talk you through my process and a little bit more about this collaboration and this sort of challenge. So as you can see in the beginning, I did sort of mess with the orientation a little bit and try to figure out how I wanted to set up the scribble on my final piece. And then here I did 3 different thumbnails as different ideas kind of popped in my head when I moved the scribble around. So this first one I saw sort of like a bird or duck head, and this second one I saw that it could be part of a tulip and decided to maybe add some bees around it. And I realized that that sort of reminded me of my free art supply challenge, I believe. I'll link that up above, and I wanted to do something a little different. And as I was looking at the scribble again, I decided I would maybe turn the scribble into part of a neck and head of an animal, kind of like a dog. I was looking at reference images of corgis, which I've wanted to practice drawing, and I don't think this ended up looking quite like a corgi with where I put the ears due to where the scribble was, but I do think it came across as a dog, so I think that was maybe good enough and a good enough practice for me. And here you see me using my DB Meyer Lightbox to get that line down on to my final paper. So I did really like the thumbnail for this piece, but I wasn't super happy with how I used the bottom kind of pointed part of the scribble, and I feel like if I had given it a little bit more thought, I could have come up with something that was a little bit more inventive and possibly something that worked well with the sketch more than what I ended up creating. I ended up actually drawing the ear on, I guess, the dog's left ear a couple times because I realized that I was crossing over the line that I wouldn't have been able to incorporate in the drawing as much. And overall, I actually struggled with this a little bit more than I expected to. And possibly that was just the result of not giving myself enough time to play around with it, and maybe even being a little burned out on different ideas and things I could have incorporated. But like I mentioned, I think my least favorite part is that kind of pointed part at the bottom, which I do decide to create some sort of like a layered bandana that is presumably around the dog's neck, and just for funsies and because I incorporate plants a lot, I decided to add a little bit of succulents and different plants kind of sticking out as sort of a decoration. Maybe this dog's owner is doing some sort of Instagram photo shoot with their dog, and they've added these sort of aesthetic plants and a cute bandana and stuff like that to the dog to take these pictures. But I feel like that was a little bit of a stretch, and I honestly don't love how it turned out. I'm okay with it, and I definitely feel like we're all gonna have days where we don't love the end result of an illustration, especially of a challenge, because it's a little bit more challenging than what we would normally do. And I'm honestly not the happiest with this. I really enjoyed the coloration as I'm starting to use my more comfortable color palette on a lot of my illustrations. And so it was really fun to paint the dog this sort of pinky, purpley blue gradient throughout the fur. But I feel like the placement of some of the lines and the plants and mostly the collar just looked a bit off, and because of how I placed the scribble and how I drew the head, I feel like it didn't really come off as a corgi, which maybe that's fine. And sometimes we need to compromise with especially our own drawings when they don't go as planned. We have to adapt, and I feel like it's always important to push through and make something out of it, even if you're not going to be totally happy with it. Practicing completing illustrations is something that's really important, because the more you stop halfway through or decide to not finish something, the easier that becomes later on if you're just not happy with something and you don't learn how to adapt and fix mistakes, or adapt the mistakes you've made and change them into something maybe different, but that still works for the piece. And that gets really important when you're doing other client work and commission work, when you have a deadline and you have to finish something and you don't have time to completely start over, and you probably don't have the mental capacity to completely start over if you feel like you've made a mistake. And so it's a really important skill to be able to just go with the flow and try to make it work if you can. So that's what I was trying to do here. And yeah, like I mentioned, I really enjoyed the kind of blues and purples and pinks in the fur. I feel like that was a really cute color combination, and overall I did like how I colored this. And yeah, I would definitely do this challenge again. I had actually been interested in doing a Scribble collaboration or Scribble challenge for a while now. It's something that is used in art therapy and with counseling as an exercise to do with your clients and as a projective sort of assessment and art directive would be the word to use, where you're able to project kind of what's in your mind onto the paper and use what little information is there to help sort of kickstart you into creating something. And that's definitely how I saw this. I've been wanting to practice pet portraits and draw some dogs, so that's what I drew, even if it didn't completely fit into what I originally wanted it to, because the scribble was sort of in the way at times. I still tried it out, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. Like I mentioned, I really like the colors, and I like that I did sort of an up close image rather than a smaller subject, kind of smaller on the paper. And yeah. So here I'm just going in with my last kind of final touches. I wanted to create a little bit more of a shadow even in the white fur, so I went in with sort of a gray blue purple to match the overall tone. And then at the end here you'll see me using some purple ink to do to go over my line work, which I also was not the happiest with. I wanted to get some practice in with a smaller brush that is, I believe, a liner brush, and so I tested that out, and I didn't get as clean lines as I was hoping for, so it's all practice. It's okay. It's okay to make bad art, as Amanda says. And that's totally true. Yeah, here I am going in with my lines. But overall, I was really excited to do this collaboration. I was able to meet up with both these awesome YouTubers at Crunchyroll Expo, as you might have seen in my vlog. I'll also link that up above if you'd missed that. But I had the chance to meet these two in person, and it was so much fun to see them and see their work in person, and I threw it out there that we should do a collaboration, and they both were really excited to accept. And I was like, hey, let's all do a collaboration. Why not? I haven't seen that on YouTube before, and I realized that we could do a collaboration all together where we each had a part in it, and I think this worked out really well. So here I am finishing up with my signature, and I'm going to bring in the scribble at the end. Here's a quick look at the piece that is finished. And here at the end, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank both Alexe and Amanda for being such awesome people and fun collaboration partners. I hope we get to work together again in the future. They're awesome. Please go check out their channels. And at the very end here, I'm going to show you a little preview of Alexe's scribble as I draw it on camera. So make sure to go check out her channel, see what she creates with this scribble that I've created, and then go ahead and check out Amanda's video too, because I am so excited to see what she created with Alexe's scribble. As always, I hope you guys have a creatively fulfilled day, and thanks again for watching.